Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, actually, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. As we all know, and as Abhishek mentioned, this month is dedicated to diabetes awareness. We all hear of diabetes. Some of us know a little bit more about than just diabetes. They know more insights. Some of us, like, we have different goals to attend this webinar. Some of us, they just want to learn more. Some of us, they do experience this condition at the moment. Some of us have family members who have diabetes, or maybe some of us are just trying to get like more education awareness, or maybe it's just Friday and I don't feel like working and I want to be here. So all of you are welcome. I'm happy to have this webinar with you. I promise you it's not going to be boring, and you're going to come out of it feeling that you actually gained or learned something new. So let's get started. Actually, before I start, I would like you to interact a little bit with me. If you can, like, type on the chat box when you hear diabetes, what comes to your mind? Anything that comes to your mind when you heard the word diabetes. Okay, nice, we're getting some answers. Sugar, change sugar level. Okay, high sugar level, too much sugar. Lovely. Type 2, great. Low carb diet, right? Sugar level, shut up. Quitting sugar, okay. Hereditary, nice. Glucose level is high in our body, back complications. Thank you all, lovely words. Too much sugar in the blood, okay. We can see that trending word here is sugar. Okay, insulin production, nice. Okay, lovely. We've got some nice answers. We can see the trend here is sugar, so looks like, okay, this has to do something with sugar. Metformin, okay, yeah. All right, so let's get into it. I'm gonna introduce you to what are we gonna talk about today. So our agenda goes like this. We're gonna talk about like what is diabetes. It's very essential to go back a little bit to the basics just to understand like what really goes in there so that we can understand how important it is to manage it. Types of diabetes. Some of you mentioned type 2. So this means we have different types. Diabetes symptoms and diagnosis. Knowing the symptoms will help like be aware on maybe you should get checked, and diagnosis is letting you know how do we diagnose diabetes. Diabetes management, of course, if someone experiences diabetes, we need to manage it to get into to stay in the best state or the healthiest state possible. And we're going to talk about whether it's possible to actually reverse diabetes. And in the end, of course, we're going to talk about diabetes prevention, which is very important to all of us who have not don't have diabetes, or they want to protect themselves and prevent themselves from getting diabetes. What can we do? Right? So here we go. So what is diabetes in very simple words? It's a long-lasting condition that affects how your body turns food into energy. So in a normal function, when we eat, okay, we have the food here, we ingest the food. The food is converted into glucose, sugar, which you all mentioned. Down here in the stomach, we can see we have cells in the pancreas which release the insulin. They produce and release the insulin into the bloodstream. So the trigger for the insulin to be released is the presence of sugar, the glucose, in the bloodstream. So the glucose enters the bloodstream, the cells, they produce and release the insulin, and then the insulin, it literally acts like a key to a door lock that helps cells enter, that helps glucose enter the cells in our body so that our body can use it and we become energetic, we benefit from the energy, etc. So just imagine as insulin is the key that you put in the door lock and open your door. It opens the door of the cell, the glucose enters the cells uses it. So insulin is a hormone. All right, so let's move forward. So we can see here that in the normal function, how insulin acts as the key. It comes here to the cell, so it allows the glucose to enter and is used for energy. Very nice, smooth, very clear. Okay. So what happens in diabetes? In diabetes, our body either does not make this hormone insulin, so those cells, they're either like not making insulin, or the cells are, their number has decreased, so we don't have insulin, or there is insulin, but the body does not use it properly, like it resists the insulin or stops like using it, which leads to a word you can also hear a lot about called insulin resistance. So as a result of this, what happens? The too much sugar, right, stays in the bloodstream, or we refer to it as hyperglycemia. So there's a lot of sugar in the bloodstream, it's unable to enter the cells. So obviously, if this is not treated over a long time, it can cause serious conditions, serious complications. Could be related to vision loss, kidney disease, heart disease, could later develop and be like a risk factor or cause us to develop other things, also like cholesterol or something called the diabetic foot, or you go into diabetic ketoacidosis. Like all of those are details I'm not going to get a lot to now, so that we just stay simple and easy. So as we said, we have different types of diabetes. There is diabetes type 1, diabetes type 2, there is gestational diabetes, and there's pre-diabetes. Now, pre-diabetes is not literally a type of diabetes, it's a state that happens before we get to diabetes. We will explain that very, very soon. Now I'm going to show you the difference between diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2. So in type 1 diabetes, what happens is, as we said, there is no insulin. So our body is not making insulin. So it's just glucose in there. It's too much traffic. There's only glucose in there. It's like Dubai Mall on a Eid weekend. You see how the people are doing there? It's like tight space, a lot of people. Same here. There's a lot of glucose, nowhere to go. There's no insulin to open the door and enter the cell. So the glucose does not enter the cell. So the cell is starved for energy. In type 2 diabetes, we can see here there is insulin, and the insulin is produced, but the cell is not responding. It's resisting the insulin. So also, we're not getting sufficient glucose into the cells. Now, in gestational diabetes is simply high blood sugar in pregnancy. When like a lady gets pregnant, there's obviously some hormonal changes that goes around, and those hormonal changes might make our cells resist also the insulin, which causes a high blood glucose levels in the mother. And this could bring extra glucose to the baby. And it's possible, it's not a must, but it's possible that baby puts on extra weight. So the baby could be delivered with like a bit of a heavier weight. And this also, like getting gestational diabetes, imposes a risk that the woman could get diabetes type 2 later on in life. So it's important to take care of it. And it could also, if not taken care of, could lead to birth defects, which obviously we don't want to happen. So it's very important to pay attention to it during pregnancy. Prediabetes. Prediabetes is basically borderline diabetes. So it's the state before we get to diabetes. This is the state where if you reach there, is like, I need to do something now before I get there. So the blood sugar is higher than normal, but it's not high enough to be considered diabetes. So if we don't take any action, there's a high chance of developing diabetes type 2. So what are the risk factors of developing diabetes? We have certain risk factors. So one is family history, like genetics. Two is having pre-diabetes, as we're talking now. Three, being overweight slash obese. Age above 45. So, and when we say here overweight, we say the unhealthy overweight, not the healthy overweight. If someone like has extra muscles in the body, etc., we're saying the unhealthy overweight or obese state. Sedentary lifestyle, so being inactive, basically. And history of gestational diabetes, as we said a few seconds before, that this could also lead in the future to diabetes. Diabetes symptoms. So it's very important to recognize if we have those symptoms. It could be an indicator that you have pre-diabetes or diabetes and you need to get checked. So what are those symptoms? You always feel hungry. I'm always hungry. I'm always thirsty. I'm very thirsty. Weight gain or unexplained weight loss. Unexplained weight loss is actually more towards diabetes type 1. Why is that? Can anyone guess, like, why could there be unexplained weight loss? If you want to think about the cell, the insulin is not there. The cell is not getting glucose. The cell is starving. So what happens when the cell starves, like, and is not getting glucose for energy? Can anyone guess? Can anyone tell me, like, in the chat box, like, what happens? Exactly, exactly correct, Greg and Andrew, yes. So there's no energy and we're using the muscle and the fat. So the body starts using its own muscle and the fat, which is very not healthy. So we drop in weight. So there's unexplained weight loss. Blood pressure, could be high blood pressure, some numb feeling or tingling feeling in the hands or feet, dizziness, fatigue, high blood sugar, obviously, if we check blood sugar and it's abnormally high. Sometimes some sexual disorders, frequent urination is also a very common symptom. Very common symptoms include always thirsty, always hungry, frequent urination, weight gain or weight loss. Eye damage, it could get like blurry vision, or candida, some candida could form as well in the genital like area. Now, diabetes diagnosis. How do we diagnose diabetes? We have 3 blood tests. So it's either getting a high value of the HbA1c test or a high value of fasting blood sugar test or the glucose tolerance test. The glucose tolerance test, what happens here is they test your glucose 2 hours before a meal and then they give you a certain amount of glucose and they check your levels after 2 hours. So in a normal range, the HbA1c is below or 5.7. If it's between 5.7 to 6.4, it's pre-diabetes. Diabetes means HbA1c of 6.5 or above. In fasting blood sugar, 99 milligrams per deciliter or below is the normal. 100 to 125 indicates pre-diabetes, and 126 indicates diabetes or above. Same for the glucose, oral glucose tolerance test, or GTT, less than 140 and below, it's normal. 140 to 199, it indicates pre-diabetes, indicates we need attention. 200 milligrams or above indicates diabetes. Of course, we also here means we need to manage it. We need to put attention to it. Now, we're going to move to diabetes management and the highlights also of our webinar today. For me, I consider there are 5 keys to managing diabetes. One is nutrition, the most important, which includes things like carbohydrate counting, eating healthy and well, maintaining a healthy weight. We're going to talk about that also further. We're going to highlight on nutrition today. Lifestyle modification. So we need to be active, need to avoid as much as possible alcohol and smoking. We need to be sleeping well and get mental health support if we need it. It's very important because all of that could affect your mood, could affect how you act towards your food, and by turn, this affects your blood sugar levels and your diabetes. 3, obviously, it's to monitor blood sugar, to keep checking the blood sugar. 4, medication and insulin. Some people mentioned metformin, some people mentioned insulin. All of those are considered part of the management team. And what we're doing today, which is education and awareness in order to know what's good, what's bad, what we should or should not do. So let's put a bit of a highlight into nutrition and diabetes. So following a healthier way of eating, I don't want to say the word diet because when sometimes I say diet, people take it that like I'm dieting, while actually the diet just simply means the way you eat. So following a healthier diet with focusing on what time are we eating, how much are we eating, and what's the type of food that I'm eating, how am I cooking it? All of that, all of those 3 are very important factors into everyone's diet, not just anyone with diabetes. So in diabetes, and also in general, our meals should not be too close or too far apart. So we should not eat very, very frequently or leave ourselves like long hours without eating. To control over food portion, especially as we said, the carbs, or you can say the sugar, which is the main source of glucose, is very important in diabetes, but it's not the only one. Protein, fat, the carbs, they all affect diabetes because diabetes is, we can say, a metabolic condition. So it's not just related to carbs, but yes, the highlight is carbs. 3, obviously, is we need to have good quality carbs to stay away from high-fat food and any unhealthy food preparation, like fried food that use a lot of oil, a lot of sugar, sweets, desserts, etc. Usually, Mediterranean diet is the healthiest to depend on. Like it's well-known research worldwide, whether it's diabetes or any other, that following the indications of Mediterranean diet, which is like uses healthy carbs, uses the healthy oils, and proteins and different proteins, not just like animal protein, also vegetarian protein. All of them, they fall under Mediterranean diet, which usually is voted or researched into being the best diet or the healthiest to follow. Does not mean other diets cannot be healthy. Obviously, they can be healthy, and many cuisines can be healthy. Depends on how you cook the food and what products are you using? So to protect yourself from diabetes, you can remember the word track, which is to take any medication that's needed, if needed, by the way, not in all cases. Take your insulin, not in all cases. Reach, maintain a healthy weight, add physical activity, control your ABCs, which is the diagnosis blood tests that we spoke about, and kick out the smoking habit, and I would say also alcohol. Okay, so types of carbs. It's very important to understand the difference between the type of carbs to be able to recognize what you should or should not, let's say, have a lot from in terms of managing your diabetes. When we want to manage our diabetes, we need to focus more on the complex carbs, which are the healthy carbs, and avoid the refined carbs, which are the, let's say, not very encouraged type. I'm not gonna say this is good and this is bad. I don't like the words or terms good and bad, because everything in moderation, let's say, is healthy, but this is what we need to stay away from as much as possible, the refined carbs, and this is what we need to encourage. So what's the difference? Complex carbs, they contain natural sugars, so it's the natural glucose that comes in this food. Fruits, leafy greens and vegetables, starchy veggies, beans, lentils, dal, brown rice, brown bread, whole grain bread, protein bread, quinoa, oats, whole wheat pasta. All of those are totally fine. Some people think it's not okay to have carbs if you have diabetes. No, I'm telling you it is okay, but we need to focus on the healthy type of carbs and how much are we eating out of those, okay? They're high in fiber, high in water, antioxidants, have a lot of vitamins, minerals. They're very minimally processed or not processed at all, which makes them perfect. Also, in just a normal person's diet, away from diabetes, this is what we should try to follow. The refined carbs, like candy, soda pastries, creams, white bread, white rice, white pasta, all of those are considered refined carbs. They're low in fiber, low in macros, highly processed. What do we mean when we say low also in fiber or high in fiber? Why is it beneficial? Now I'm going to show you also a graph that talks about fiber in the food, and with a highlight also on the glycemic index in the food. So glycemic index means, now we're going to talk about it, like how much the sugar that's in this food or the carbs that in the food, how much is impacting your blood sugar. We're going to see that when we eat more of the complex carbs, we're in a safer state in terms of blood sugar than the refined carbs. What happens when we eat the refined carbs is, let me show you first. Okay, what happens is that our blood sugars, they spike. Okay, let me go back to the refined carbs. I'll show you the graph a bit later. When we eat the refined carbs, our blood sugar spikes up. When we get this spike up in blood sugar, naturally it's going to be followed by a spike down. So when this spike down in blood sugar happens, like a drop down, let's say, two things happen. One is that we feel hungry quickly again. Like, oh my God, I just had lunch. I just had a big bowl of rice. And 1 hour later, 1 hour and a half, I'm hungry. I want to eat something again. And two is that you feel very low on energy. Like, oh, I'm sleepy. I can't work. I can't focus in work. Why am I feeling like that? And when we eat the whole or the complex carbs, what happens is that those the blood sugar levels, they stay balanced due to the fiber that's in the complex carbs, because fiber, it keeps the blood sugar regulated, keeps it balanced. So we don't get any spikes in the blood sugar. And so when the blood sugar stays in balance, this means that first of all, we feel full faster, because fiber takes space in our tummy once we eat things that contain fiber. It takes space in the tummy, so we feel full in a faster way, so we're able to control our portion better. And we feel full for a longer time because the blood sugar levels are in balance. So the glycemic index that I was talking about, it's a rating system from 0 to 100 for foods, depending on how quickly or like how much this type of food increases your blood sugar level. So low glycemic index is any number below 55, medium is 56 to 69, high is greater than 70. Most complex carbs that we just spoke about are low glycemic index foods, but not all. Diabetics should mostly focus on low GI foods. Okay, like it's very, very encouraged to focus on low to medium GI foods. Does not mean that we are not allowed to eat anything we want, but let's say if I'm gonna eat food that's high in glycemic index, I can eat a small portion, just not a big portion, because that's gonna spike up my blood sugar. And why am I saying most complex carbs are low GI foods, but not all? We need to think about, let's say when we eat something, how sweet it is. Like, for example, watermelon or melon is healthy, right? It's as fruit, it's healthy, so it's considered as like a complex carb, let's say, or from the healthy carbs. It contains natural fruit sugar, but it's sweet. And if something more sweet, it means it's high in glycemic index. So when we eat it, it increases blood sugar in a high level. So as you can see here, watermelon, it's 72. Some people could even say it's 80 or above. So this is why, like, it's not like you cannot eat watermelon, but just eat a small portion of watermelon. And you can see, like, for example, the other types of things, they're more around medium to low. You can see how big, like potatoes, they're high in glycemic indexes, while potatoes, we can also, they say that it's a carb like rice, like bread. It affects our system. And as an advice from me to you, if you're gonna have carbs in a meal, try not to have more than one source of carbs. Like if you're having rice, don't also have bread or also have potato. It's either rice or bread or potato, especially if you're someone who feels that it's a little bit hard for me to control what I'm eating. If it's not hard, maybe you can put half a portion of this, half a portion of that, totally fine. Okay, proteins, dairy, fruits, vegetables, starch. Protein, obviously not the animal protein, the vegetarian protein is considered as a half carb portion, half protein. This is why it's here. Look at the low fat yogurt is as low as 14, right? So this is like very healthy. Look at the tomatoes, at the vegetables, how low they are. This is why like vegetable snacks are very like encouraged in this case. And in terms of fruits, let's say in simple words, focus on the fruits that are not too sweet, like oranges, berries, strawberry, blueberries, all of those, they have low glycemic index. And things like mango, pineapple, watermelon, melon, they're sweet, so they have a high glycemic index, so they're going to affect our blood sugar much. So let's try to control and avoid those. So this is the graph I told you about. If you're having something that's high in glycemic index, this is what happens to your blood sugar. Over time, look, in half an hour, your blood sugar spikes up, and then you get a drop down. And when you get this drop down, you're gonna get the sugar cravings. I want more chocolate. I want another piece of cake, you know? And when you eat the low glycemic index meal, let's say we had some vegetables with grilled chicken and a nice small portion of brown rice. This is how the blood sugar stays stable. Okay, no spike up, no drop down. We don't get those cravings. We're still energetic. we're fresh, we're ready to continue our day. So I'm going to get to carbohydrate counting. Carbohydrate counting is something that people who have diabetes probably heard of, especially if you have type 1 diabetes. So what is it about? It's about matching your insulin dose and activity level to the amount of carbohydrate that you're going to eat. Because people who have diabetes, they take insulin or they take medications, especially if you take insulin. Okay, you need to know, okay, how much insulin should I take? Because too little could keep your blood sugar high, and too much could lead that there's no sugar left and it goes all into the cells. So we need to know how much insulin are we going to have. So it helps in avoids the hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia. So along with something that's called insulin to carb ratio, it helps us define how many units of insulin we need. What's insulin to carb ratio? It is how many grams of carbs covered by 1 unit of insulin. So how can we calculate this ratio? I can help you calculate that. It can be either given to you by the doctor when he prescribes insulin to you, or a dietitian can help you calculate that. Let's use a very, very, very simple example. If it's given to you that your insulin to carb ratio is 1 to 15, it means 1 unit of insulin covers 15 grams of carbs. So if we're about to eat a meal that has 45 grams of carbs, it means we need to take 3 units of insulin. Simple. Is it always so simple? No. Sometimes we eat more, so we need to adjust to the dose that we take. We find that after the meal, our blood sugar is still high, so we need to take more insulin. Why? Because each body is different than the other. Each person could respond to certain foods differently from another person. So how do we know how much a meal has carbs? Great. Through carbohydrate counting, by reading your nutrition facts labels. If you're using a certain product, seeing how much carbs this product has, or being familiar or using in the beginning something we called exchange lists. So what's an exchange list? So they are the base of meal planning. Now, sometimes you don't need to go through this. You can just go to your dietitian. Your dietitian can help you because we are familiar with this. So the exchange list, it contains foods that are alike. Each food choice on a list contains about the same amount of carbohydrate, protein, and fat and calories as the other choices on that list. So it's about the same. It's not the exact same, but I have for you here some examples. These are examples of some cereals, grains, and pasta. Here, each serving has 15 grams of carbohydrate. It's fixed. It has 3 grams of protein, 0 to 1 gram of fat, and about 80 calories. So if you eat quarter a cup of granola, it's the same as if you eat 1/3 cup of cooked quinoa. Same calories, approximately same amount of carbs. So if a person, let's say, is having 1 cup of brown rice, this means he's having how many servings? So a serving is 1/3 of a cup. So 1/3 of a cup plus 1/3 of a cup, 1/3 of a cup, that makes us 1 cup. So there are 3 servings of rice in 1 cup of rice. Okay, if our portion is 1 cup, so see, portion is different than serving size. If our portion is 1 cup, it means it contains 3 servings of brown rice. 3 servings of brown rice means 45 grams of carbs. So depending on the example I just gave you, 45 grams of carbs in a 1 to 15 insulin ratio, it means we have 3 units, we need to use 3 units of insulin. So welcome to carbohydrate counting 101. This is just a very simple example. It could get more complicated than that because we're having proteins, we're having fats, we're having different types of carbs at the same time. So all of that is taken into consideration. So maintaining a healthy weight, we spoke that maintaining a healthy weight is extremely essential and extremely recommended for people who have diabetes or are pre-diabetic. So it's a healthy weight loss, and I focus and highlight on a healthy weight loss, not a fast weight loss. A healthy weight loss is highly recommended if you're overweight or obese. It helps decrease the level of blood sugar. So when the blood sugar is decreased, you decrease the use of medications or insulin, or you decrease your dose, and reduces your risk of getting any complications big time. So this comes how? Through enhancing our diet to a healthier one, adding physical activity, and modifying the rest of lifestyle factors like your sleep pattern, your water intake, your stress levels, for example. All of those are considered part of our lifestyle, obviously in addition to smoking, alcohol. So we need to pay attention into those little things. I can help you big time in achieving a healthy weight loss, whether it's for the purpose of managing your diabetes or simply having a healthier weight. Um, we will aim for tackling like specific, let's say, goals one by one. Nothing's going to happen in a rush. No need to focus on many things at the same time. We will take it step by step, make sure it's healthy. We need to aim for at least 150 minutes of physical activity per week. That could be like 5 days of 30 minutes or 3 days of 45 minutes, 50 minutes of activity as a minimum. Reach out to any dietitian, reach out to me to guide you through a healthy weight loss that's going to suit with your case. And if you're diabetic, any insulin or medicines that you are using. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? The big question. So in type 1, since it's genetic, we cannot really fully stop using insulin, but if it was in a case where you're managing your, like you're very lucky, you're really managing your diabetes really well, it could be possible that you're only having medication instead of insulin shots, the insulin pen. In type 2, yes, it is possible, actually, with proper diabetes management, healthy weight loss, managing your diet in a correct way, being active, you can actually manage to keep decreasing your sugar levels until you are in a remission stage. So the blood sugar levels that we spoke about, you drop back from diabetes to pre-diabetes, and you can even drop back to normal stage. And at this stage, of course, you're gonna be ordered to stop using your insulin. You're not gonna need to use your medication anymore. Goodbye insulin. Goodbye your metformin or glucophage that you commonly hear of. In gestational diabetes, it goes away soon after pregnancy. It does not stay after pregnancy. Pre-diabetes, in pre-diabetes, when we follow prevention measures, it becomes easy to get back to a healthy blood sugar range and avoid diabetes. Some people who are in pre-diabetic stage or who are overweight are being prescribed medicines to help them decrease weight loss, like metformin. In pre-diabetic stage, it could be essential to use a medication. If you're not in a pre-diabetic stage, let's say I do not recommend we reach to a point that we use medicines. Why use a medicine when you can just do it in a healthy way? Remember, there is no deadline following you. Nothing's chasing you to tell yourself, okay, I need to lose weight now and I need to lose 10 kgs in 1 month. Okay, this is extremely not healthy. I'll tell you one small thing why. Because any fast weight loss results in fast weight gain. You lose the weight quickly, you're gonna gain it back quickly, even more, maybe more than where it was. And fast weight loss actually results in your muscles being lost, you lose muscle and water, you don't lose fat as much as if you're following a healthy weight loss pattern where you're losing fat in a healthy way, step by step. And when you lose fat in a healthy way, you're able to sustain this weight loss and you will not gain this weight again. So this is the approach that I use with all of my patients. No one is going to be following any restrictive diet. I do not support restriction. I support balance. I support managing and just controlling our intake in a way that makes it sustainable for us to live. I don't want someone to be in a mentality that, oh, I cannot eat this, I'm restricted. My dietitian says I cannot eat that. No, you're not going to say that. Rather, we will just play a little bit with your food portions. We decrease your food portions a little bit. We improve the type of carbs we're eating. You're not going to feel you're restricted. You will still be allowed also to have your treats. All of this will be allowed in moderation. You're going to just learn how to live a healthier lifestyle. I like to call it in this way. I don't like calling myself that I'm on a diet. No, tell yourself I'm just learning to live a healthier lifestyle. So how can we prevent diabetes? One is to try as much as possible to decrease and to quit smoking. Two, maintain a healthy diet, which I can help you with. Three, exercise regularly, which I can also give you some tips about. Four, maintain a healthy body weight. As we said, being overweight is a risk factor. Six, get enough sleep. As we said, lifestyle is important. Limit alcohol intake. And those are the 6 things, just to see them again. And I would like to tell you that I am here to support you. I'm more than happy to support you with anything you need, whether it is controlling your diabetes, your blood sugar, your cholesterol, or just wanting to live a healthier lifestyle, or you're a gym boy, you want to gain weight, you're going to gain muscle, you want to lose weight in a healthy way. I am more than happy to support you. Just call, book a consultation with me. If your insurance covers us, consultation is completely free. I will also not leave you. I will go with you step by step. I'll plan follow-up consultations with you. And just to let you know, we also have amazing diabetes care programs and weight loss programs that you can on board on, where we help you manage your diabetes, we help you manage your weight loss, or also any, let's say, not just diabetes, like any chronic condition like hypertension, high cholesterol, hyperlipidemia. If you have any of those conditions, we can also help you manage that, where our team, our doctors here who are available 24/7, and the nurse, me, the psychologist, will all work together to help you achieve better levels and improve your condition. Yeah, so I support you all to download our app TruDoc, call us and book an appointment with me. And you can also always call our call center at 800 TruDoc to know more about us, our services, and what we can do for you. As I mentioned, for most of you, if your insurance, maybe you don't know that your insurance covers TruDoc, you can just call and ask us or check with your insurance. People like Daman, AXA, I believe their insurance covers TruDoc, so actually you can get any number of consultations with us for free, unlimited. If it's in a case where you're a UAE resident, but your insurance does not cover TruDoc, we have a very affordable subscription rate of like 220 per full year, because one of our goals is to provide affordable healthcare and honest healthcare, because all our doctors here, they work 24/7. As you know, we're a telemedicine company, so we're not a physical hospital. So our doctors, they don't gain anything also from overprescribing anything. They don't have any goal, any commission to make out of prescribing extra tests for you. So whatever your case is, our doctors will help you just tackle it in the best way possible, the healthiest way possible. We also, for your diabetes or for your regular health checkups, if you need your blood work checked, we can send you our lab partner for free to your office or to your house to collect your blood sample. If you need any medication, if you need to refill your diabetes medication, your cholesterol medication, we will also deliver it for free to your office, to your house, anywhere you are. And this is how we can support you in a nutshell. I'll leave the floor now to you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. Thank you. You can use the chat box. Okay, I'm reviewing the chat box. There are some questions. Okay, there's a question. Do you suggest we use the latest machine which monitors the blood glucose level continuously, like, or then we can monitor our body in responding to different foods we can eating? Okay, so basically in terms of like monitoring your blood sugar when you eat certain foods, it's about regularly testing your blood sugar after you eat certain foods. You can eat certain food and then you can test your blood sugar, sees how much it gets affected. Then you can know, okay, when I eat this item, this is how my blood sugar gets affected, you know? Honestly, there are many different types of blood glucose monitors. There's also the monitor that let's say in simple words, you can see it like as a patch here that is always connected and is always checking your blood sugar regularly. This is mostly used with type 1 diabetics. You can check, we can like, you can do a research, check with your doctor, with your pharmacist on which could be maybe the ideal monitor for you. But I would go back to the basics. The idea in the end is to monitor, to have a machine to monitor. Okay, Greg was like just giving some advice. It's expensive, insurance, okay. Regarding the diet program, as the food habits are more towards the geographical location from where we are, do you or your team covers giving a diet program based on our food habits? Yes, 100% sure. If you need a diet plan, I can also provide that for you for free. I can provide you with any guidelines, weight loss guidelines or management guidelines, any guidelines that you need, or you need help with quitting smoking, with stress management, anything that you need, I'm more than happy to help. Also, by the way, we have also a psychologist on board that can help you a lot with stress management, anger management, or anxiety management. You can also have as many consultations with her as you need. The team covers any needs, and I will personalize for you anything that you need. We can either go with an approach where you don't need a diet. We just I give you guidelines and you start applying them slowly. We go goal by goal, okay? Or if you feel that you're a person that, okay, I can control myself better if I have something written that I follow, then in this case, I can also personalize a diet for you. I like if you're Arab, it will be more of an Arab cuisine. If let's say you're more into Asia, like let's say you're from India, it will be more towards an Indian cuisine. If you're European, American, more towards that. I will try my best with personalizing your diet plan. My HbA1c is normal, 5.1 to 5.6, but twice recently, I got borderline high sugar in routine blood check. Should I be concerned? I'm not sure when you say high sugar, what was the number? If you refer to the numbers, we mentioned too, I would advise in this case to control your carbs. Make sure that they're a healthy type of carbs, you're exercising, being active, and then after you do follow those guidelines to check your, keep checking your blood sugar, see how it is. It's important if it's borderline to keep checking it and to act on it, not to wait until it gets higher. So act on it now. Let's be healthier now and reduce the blood sugar so that we don't reach any higher stage. Okay. Under nutrition fact label, what should we focus on? Which one to avoid mainly? Okay, we need to focus on total carbohydrates. So fibers are not fibers since they're healthy. If you can see the dietary fiber, if you want to do carbohydrate counting, you subtract that from the total carbs. What we should avoid is sugars, added sugars specifically. If you see an item with added sugar, some items like they're gonna, by the way, they're gonna fool you. You're gonna grab an item, it's gonna say, oh, low fat, lovely. Then you're gonna turn it back, look at the nutrition facts. You're gonna see total added sugars, for example, 11 grams. Disaster. Put it back. Like, 15 grams of carbs is like 1 tablespoon of sugar. So imagine having a low-fat yogurt with 1 tablespoon of sugar. This is just because it's low fat. So when you buy something low fat, you need to take care of the nutrition facts. You can actually compare two products. We need to make sure there's at as less as or 0 grams of added sugars in something we buy. Some brands, they do add sugar. When they make a product low fat, they add sugar. Now, if you see the carbs, they're a bit higher than the original, let's say one, it's okay. But if it's a lot higher, put it back. Okay. Would you recommend the food cooked in air fryer since it's less oil usage? Yeah, air fryer is definitely better than deep frying. We want to need to stay away from any deep fried food cooked with a lot of butter, with a lot of oil. 1 tablespoon of oil gives you 120 calories. So imagine when we're pouring oil or adding butter into things, how much calories is that adding? Like you have a very healthy product here and you just put oil on, it ruins it. Like when you go eat a salad, by the way, outside, and you think you're eating a healthy salad, and they get you this lovely ranch sauce or Caesar dressing, and it's all covering your salad. All of the calories are in there, all of the fat is in there. So let's avoid such heavy dressings. I'm not saying I'm not allowed. Like you can ask for a dressing on the side. This is what I do. I ask for a dressing on the side and I put just a little bit of the dressing. What happens is in restaurants, they pour a lot of the dressing on top of your food to make it look delicious, yummy, and you come back there and you eat it again and you order that food again. But in fact, we don't need this much oil. We don't need this much dressing. We just need a little bit of taste, right? We can do it with some olive oil, balsamic vinegar, olive oil, lemon juice, a little bit of spices, salt, pepper, or herbs. It's done. Okay. What is opinion on semaglutide, Wegovy, or Ozempic? Is it recommended and available in UAE? Honestly, I'm not very sure about that. I've heard Ozempic is available. Some people are taking Ozempic. I'd rather you check with your endocrinologist on the medicines that are available here and which one would be best because it depends on your case. I cannot tell you this or that is better if I don't know what's your case. So yeah. How do you define hereditary exactly? Please, my mom was type 2, but developed long after my birth. How much risk factor do I inherit? Well, actually, the hereditary or the genetic diabetes is mostly linked to diabetes type 1. That usually if there's someone in the family that has type 1, you could be more prone to it. And type 1, by the way, if it happens mostly or not mostly, but it's the most also common type in kids and teens is type 1. If someone has diabetes from their young age, from your birth, it's type 1. If it's type 2, no, it does not necessarily mean you're gonna get it. If you are a healthy person, you are active, you don't have a sedentary lifestyle, you eat healthy, okay, as healthy as you can, then there is you decrease your risk of developing any type 2 diabetes. It's not a must that you're going to develop it if any of your family member has it. If you're taking care of your food, of your diet, you're not allowing those blood sugar levels to stay high, then you're in a, and you're having a healthy weight, then you're safe. Okay, the idea is like, remember, like, if you have pre-diabetes or if you have high blood sugar, remember that photo I showed you where there's all glucose and insulin is not entering. Like, if you're having pre-diabetes or insulin resistance, it's like Dubai Mall on a Eid, on a national holiday. Imagine, like, if this is your blood sugar and you're eating, or you just eat a big plate of biryani, and oh, let's have desserts. Imagine like what's happening in there, like the struggle that your cells are unable to get those sugar out of the blood into the cells. It's remaining in the blood vessels. This could lead to many serious complications, to diabetic ketoacidosis, and we want to prevent that. So it's very important we regulate the blood sugar and take care of our diet. Weight loss guidelines. Weight loss guidelines. When it comes to weight loss, I can give you more personalized guidelines if you reach out to me. Basically, you need to work on two things. This is what I tell everyone: your lifestyle and your nutrition. If you leave one of them, you're not going to get the healthy weight loss. Healthy weight loss starts by small changes that you can adhere to. If you want to change everything at the same time, and you want to act on everything now, there's a very high chance you're not going to be able to commit to it more than a month. But if you start making small changes, small milestones, one by one, okay, this week I'm going to decrease my portions, just that. Cool. Achieve that, move to the next. Move to the next. Week by week, we slowly build up on our habits. Okay, our small little habits, the availability of food around us. What snacks do we have around us? Do I have snacks on my desk in the office? At home, running everywhere? No, like, let's hide those. Keep in front of us a water bottle, maybe some cut veggies, so that if we want to snack on something, at least something healthy. So it's about controlling also lifestyle factors. Is you're sleeping enough? Are you exercising? Are you smoking? Are you drinking? Drinking adds a lot of empty calories to your food. So let's take care of all those small details. They can make a big difference in your weight loss. As a simple detail as avoiding an unhealthy salad dressing. You remove 300 calories from your day, like boom, like that, so yeah.
Thank you, Sabina. I think we're running out of time, so we'll take one more question and then we can wrap it up. And everyone, please download the app. It's available on Play Store, Apple Store, and Huawei App Gallery.
I'll show you this is the QR code for our app. If you can see it, you can scan the code. It's available App Store, Google Play App Gallery, or dial our toll-free number 800 TruDoc 800-878-362. I'll take a couple more questions quickly. My HB is 8.5. I need to do weight loss. Please advise a vegetarian diet. I'll be more than happy to support you on a vegetarian diet. Just call, book a consultation with me. I will support you fully, okay? You're most welcome. For everyone who said thank you. Stevia is better than normal sugar, Deepak, especially if you have diabetes and you want to sweeten up something. If you want to have desserts or you're craving something sweet, it's always best to go for a fruit or for a date, or prepare your own homemade dessert with less sugar and using brown sugar, for example. For weight loss, I do not recommend keto unless it's a very, very specific case. I don't recommend any high-fat diet. I recommend the balanced diet. You can reach out to me to find out for me to follow your case specifically. Which fruits to avoid? Avoid the fruits that are high glycemic index that we spoke about before. The fruits that are very sweet, we can avoid that. Okay, and mushrooms, I will need to check that. I'm not very sure about mushroom, but I believe it's a low glycemic index since it's a vegetable. I believe I answered all questions. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you liked it. I hope you did not find it boring. I hope you learned something new. I'll be waiting for you. If anyone has any questions, you want to have a session together, I'm here to support you. My team is here to support you. Our 24/7 doctors are there. You can just download our app. Anytime you need to consult a doctor, just immediately call. It rings to a doctor. If you need to consult me or my colleague, the psychologist, you can book us anytime, Monday to Friday. Just call our call center at 800 TruDoc, and they will assist you in booking the earliest appointment possible. Thank you very much.